What would you do for your child? Would you work 2 jobs, move to a new city, give up everything you ever built, or build something entirely new? One mother asked herself that question, and her answer was a restaurant. Not for the food, not for the money, but for one reason, and one reason only. Her kid, to understand why she did it, you have to understand where she started. She wasn't rich. She wasn't a chef. She wasn't even someone who dreamed of running a business. She was just a mother, working long hours, stretching every paycheck, trying to give her child a normal life. But her child wasn't living a normal life. Her son, we'll call him Zada, had a condition that made the outside world feel overwhelming. Crowds were too loud. Strangers were too unpredictable. Most public places felt unsafe to him. Restaurants, impossible. Other kids got birthday dinners. School celebrations, family outings on a Friday night. Zaid had never experienced any of that, and his mother watched him miss out year after year, and she couldn't take it anymore. It was his 9th birthday. She had tried to make it special at home. Balloons, his favorite cake, just the two of them. And Zaid smiled. He was happy. But she cried that night after he fell asleep. Not because he was unhappy, but because she realized he didn't even know what he was missing. He had accepted a smaller world because she hadn't found a way to make the bigger one work for him. That night, something shifted in her. She stopped asking, "How do I help him fit into the world?" and started asking, "What if I build him a world that fits him?" The idea came slowly at first. A dream she kept pushing away. What if there was a restaurant just for kids like Zaid, a place with low lighting and soft music, no sudden loud noises, familiar routines, a predictable menu, staff trained in patience and kindness. A space where no one stares, no one rushes, and no one makes a child feel like a burden. A restaurant where every single detail was designed around them. She told a few people. Most smiled politely and said nothing. A couple told her it was too risky. One person told her she was crazy. She started saving anyway. She picked up extra shifts. She sold things she didn't need. She applied for a small business loan twice. The first time she was rejected. She applied again. The space she found was small, really bigger than a living room, but it was hers. She painted the walls herself. Warm colors, nothing too bright, nothing too sharp. She spent weeks researching, talking to therapists, talking to other parents, reading everything she could find about sensory-friendly design. The music in her restaurant would always stay below a certain volume. The lights could be dimmed table by table. The menu was simple, visual, and never changed without notice. Staff were trained not just in food service, but in how to approach a nervous child, how to give space, how to make someone feel safe without saying a word. She named the restaurant after something her son always said when he felt comfortable somewhere. He called it his calm place. The morning of the opening, she barely slept. What if no one came? What if it wasn't enough? What if it wasn't enough? What if, after everything, Zaid still didn't feel comfortable? He walked in holding her hand. He stopped at the door, looked around slowly, the soft lighting, the quiet hum of gentle music, a small chalkboard menu with pictures next to every item, a little corner with fidget toys and books just in case. He let go of her hand, and he walked in on his own. He sat down at a table, his table the one she had quietly reserved for him, and he picked up the menu. Then he looked up at her and said something she will never forget for the rest of her life. "I want to eat here every week, Mom." She turned away so he wouldn't see her cry. Word spread quietly at first. A post in a parents group, a share, then another. Families started coming from neighboring cities. Parents who had spent years avoiding restaurants because dining out had always ended in stress and tears and apologetic looks at strangers. Here, no one apologized. Here, a child could take 20 minutes to decide what to eat, and the server would just smile and wait. Here, a meltdown didn't mean leaving in shame. It meant a quiet staff member gently offering a calmer corner, no questions asked. She hadn't just built a restaurant. She had built a refuge. And it started because one mother looked at her child and refused to believe that the world couldn't make room for him. She didn't wait for the world to change. She changed it herself, 4 tables at a time. There are parents all over the world doing extraordinary things in quiet, invisible ways. Not for fame, not for recognition, just for their kid. If this story moved you, share it with someone who needs to hear it today. You never know who's in the middle of their own impossible dream right now. And if you want more stories like this, hit subscribe. Because there are so many more people like her out there. We just have to go find them. Thanks for watching.